Are
But
Cheez-Its
they
one of the 10
come-
essentials?
Yes, they're always an essential. Plus, we got to use one of our new little reusable bags, and they're very nice. It's very waterproof.
Good, because there's nothing worse than soggy Cheez-Its.
Right. It's my favorite snack.
We just finished hiking, I think, almost every trail
Or at least a portion of every trail.
in the Bauer Unit of Guadalupe River State Park in Texas. We have been staying at the Guadalupe River State Park Campground, which is actually on the other side of the Guadalupe River. See how many times I can say Guadalupe in this. So you have to drive to get here if you're camping. That was my point.
Yeah, it's funny because on the map it looks like it's just across the river, but there is no bridge or path to get here. And while the river is pretty shallow, it does have rapids and it's really cold, so it is not recommended to cross the river.
Mileage-wise isn't terrible. Technically, you could bike it, but you are in Texas hill country, so that would not be the most comfortable bike ride to then go hiking afterward.
Well, I mean, it's like a good 12 to 15 miles to get here. So yes, it is bikeable, but that's 12 to 15 miles here plus hiking and then 12 to 15 miles back. So I would just drive. There's a nice parking lot.
Unless you're an Iron Man, then just drive over here. It is a nice big parking lot. The trails, we ended up doing about 9 miles total.
Yeah, just shy of.
I think there's 8 miles of trails in this park, and somehow we hiked 9 miles. But if you follow us, you know that we never go in a straight line. And
We have to go forward and back to get some video, wander around, go off the trail a little to take some, go down to the river. Well, not really off the trail, but like the spur of the trail. And but yeah, and we literally did every loop except the back half of one of them. So we did like a quarter of it, took the river trail spur, and then we didn't finish the loop. We just kind of backtracked.
It was nice being able to take a couple of the spurs down to the river. There were 2 different points where you could do that. It's a really pretty river. It's a really nice setting to just sit and listen to the river for a while and enjoy that area. So that was really nice. The types of trails were really different. I thought there was very different terrain depending on which trail you are on. Bauer is kind of more of almost like a gravel road for a big part of it.
Well, it's basically the gravel road that takes you to the Bauer house, which is the old farmstead of the property owners who used to have this land back in, I don't know what the sign said, 1800s, 1900s, something.
1878 is what's on the house. Well, it says circa 1878, so I don't think even the state is necessarily sure, but...
So I think at one time, I mean, obviously a little more developed now, but that was probably like a wagon trail that went out deep into the property and for them. And then the rest of the trails are a good mix of this really weird, like slimy mud that sticks to everything, lots of rocks. And then there are some wide open paths that are a little more just dirt-ish.
The other one that's very similar to Bauer, it's not quite as wide, but it seemed just kind of like a flat section of, kind of open area that you're walking through was, I kept calling it Bambi Burgers because I couldn't remember what the actual name of it was.
Bamberger or Bomberger. I'm not sure. It's somebody's last name, so it could be either Bomberger or Bamberger.
Or Bambi Burgers. But
that's venison.
So that one's a little more, kind of flat and open, but the,
well, I guess not all of it is. Half of it is because it's going through the middle of the park where it is more the open net. But when you came off the Curry Creek, it was more like the first trail that we were on, which is through the woods with all the rocky trees and watching your footing.
Oh, that's true. Because Curry Creek, which is a really cool trail, I really enjoyed that one. Lots of, kind of narrow and some rocks. And I would say it's a little more difficult to do than the other trails.
Yeah.
But not terrible, but a little more difficult to watch your footing, especially. But then, yeah, that's right. We came out and we connected with Bomberger, and then that was still part of that sort of. I think it's because it's all that area, it's all that terrain.
One thing that I would point out here is a good chunk of the trails do connect to other trails. So it's not like you're starting at the parking lot and you're going to say, I'm going to go do the Warbler Cheek, or I'm going to go do this one, because like 3 of them, the only way to get to them is to go down another trail and then take that other loop. So you are going to go through a pretty good mix of either the open kind of prairie land or more in that like live oak, rocky, muddy trees areas, just because I don't know which direction we're facing here, but I'm assuming like if you look across it, this whole section is going to be one way, and then as you get closer to the river, it's a different kind of vegetation.
Different kind of terrain. And
Vegetation,
the geology of it all is very different, so it changes as you go. So we're stopped for a little snack break here. We just completed the Hofmaster Hufflepuff Heineken. What trail is this?
Hofheinz.
Hofheinz.
You were close.
I was very close. This is why you control the map. I just shoot the video. But it's our first trail in here that we've done in this Bauer unit. I thought it was really cool. Very different, obviously, from Michigan because we're in Texas. But
we actually went through quite a bit of different, well, it was not different terrain on that one. It was all kind of the same terrain, but just very different in general in terms of all the rocks and the trees that we know nothing about, but they're really cool.
Spanish moss in one area.
Yeah.
Was hanging.
You definitely have to watch your footing, though. Just it is really slick both in the mud and the rocks.
Well, somebody commented to us. We met somebody in the parking lot from Ohio, and she said the difference she notices when you hike in mud here, it's super slick, which she's right. And I've found that it seems Texas trails get shut down more frequently than we're used to in Michigan. So.
Yeah, but I can understand that now because her point was the Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania trails, we're used to like a hard packed dirt, and we have some rock, but I'm thinking Porcupine Mountain's kind of rock, but not like this. So it is different. It's really kind of cool.
There were some cacti. I think they're prickly pear is what they actually are.
I don't know.
I'm going to look it up.
We don't know nothing about Texas. Can you tell?
I'm going to look it up and then I'll put it on the screen, whatever it actually is, if we can figure it out. Or I'll just put a big question mark and then people can add in the comments what they think it is.
Yes, tell us about Texas because clearly we've been here and we still have no idea what's going on.
So this Hufflepuff Heineken trail that we're on, if you take it, it leads you down to the Guadalupe River. You can actually go to the end of the trail here, but there's a little cutoff and you can go down and see the river, which is really neat. An interesting sort of greenish
It's
water.
A really cool color. It's clear. Like it's clear water. You can see all the way to the bottom, but it's like a weird aqua blue green and it's cloudy today. So I'm imagining on a super sunny day, it's much brighter, but I don't know. I guess none of our rivers are clear. They're always really mucky and muddy. So this is really cool.
Yeah, it is neat. And you can get down right to the water. There's some rapids in this area right here by the trail. You can see kind of the cliffs or the canyon that it's running through is kind of off to the side. So all in all, I really like this. Difficulty, I didn't think it was too bad as long as you watch your footing, but the elevation changes I didn't think were too bad. No,
I think we were headed down because we were headed down to the river. I mean, going back up, but it's still not like super steep by any means. But it's, again, just watch your footing. And I mean, they do have a lot of flash floods around here, which is why the trails get closed too, because in certain seasons and certain times, that river's going to flood. So like where we were walking around on the rocks today down by the river, like you're not going to do that in sometimes, I guess.
Certain seasons, yeah. And when the rains are coming in and everything, you can definitely see where the river can get to when you're walking around down there. It's pretty amazing how high it can get. It's kind of surprising to see that. So, all right, well, we're going to finish up our snack and find the next trail that connects on this loop and see if I can figure out what it's called. Just a quick stop along the way to check in again. We just finished the Golden State Warriors trail or something. What was it?
Golden Cheeked Warbler.
They're really difficult trail names here. I don't know why. That one was nice. You get all the way down to the river again.
Yeah, it actually hooks up with a trail that I don't remember, and then there's a little river access trail.
Blue something loop.
Yeah, let's go with that because I don't feel like looking at it up. But we didn't really we actually didn't do that loop. We got down to the bottom and it basically sort of is a circle. We took the spur to the river instead, went down, got some pictures, and you basically end up sort of across from, not quite, but across from the day use area at the main park, the day use, So we were able to see a lot of people out there, people fishing, going on the little river hike. But the trail itself was nowhere near as dramatic as what people made it sound like it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, we read some reviews and talked to some people before we left, and it seemed like, well, if you do that part, remember, you're going straight down, and then you're going to have to come back up, and they made it sound like
3 hours. And
some of the reviews made it sound like you were rappelling. I mean, I'm like, okay, we'll try it. At one point, we weren't sure we were going to do it, and we said, well, let's at least go to the top and see what it looks like, and then it wasn't.
It's like a wide open trail. I mean, it kind of follows the power line a little bit, so it's not like it's super rocky and you're not climbing rocks. It's a little steep, but it's manageable.
nice overall. It was nice getting down to the river. So now we are headed off on another trail to find some more things. All the trails sort of interconnect in here. If you can't tell from our raincoats, it started raining about 4 hours earlier than predicted. So that's why you
Come
travel
prepared.
you come prepared with stuff. So anyway, all right, off we go.
Couple things to note if you are going to visit. You can have dogs on a leash, and it says you can have bikes on the trail. Now, what we encountered was I would think you'd have to have like a super fat tire bike because those rocks are sharp, and it's kind of dangerous in some spots, which is why they close the trails when it gets wet around here. But if you stuck to maybe that main gravel trail or some of the more open ones, I mean, maybe just ride your bike part way, leave it, go for a hike, come back and get it. But those are things to note, as well as probably the biggest thing is there is a nice parking lot, but there is no bathroom facility here. So no vault toilets or anything, no water source. So pack it all in, pack it all out, go pee before you come. And, but it's a really good place here.
Yeah, overall impression, I was really happy with it. We had some really nice trails, and you'll see it in the video, obviously, how pretty some of it could be. And I would imagine there's a lot of signs, no matter where you're at in Texas, about making sure you have plenty of water because it gets hot. And we have to remember we're here in January, so
this is true.
It's really nice hiking weather. It's like in the low 60s today. It'd be very different here if the sun was beating down on you and it was really hot. So you have to keep that in mind as well.
That is true, because everywhere you go, it says make sure you have plenty of water. And that is because it gets over 100 degrees sometimes in the summer. So if you're going to be out for a 5-hour hike like we were, we probably wouldn't be doing this in July. Or we'd be taking even longer or shorter, or you do it first thing in the morning because you do it before the heat gets up. But, we did get caught out here a little unexpectedly with the rain. We had all our gear, but it moved in sooner than we expected. But we just pushed through because that's what we do.
Right. The other thing I noticed is, the beginning of the trail system's a little confusing. I don't think there's enough markers to kind of get you going when you're looking at the map.
Yeah, we had to ask 2 different people to get us on the right trail.
Once you get going, there are decent trail markers throughout. What's different, I noticed, though, in Michigan when we hike, we're used to seeing blazes everywhere. Blue, dots or orange triangles, wherever they use in those parks, on the trees, that kind of thing. There's nothing here like that. It is, occasionally you'll see the trail marker sign, and if you hit an intersection, hopefully there's trail markers, and there have been, I think, in all the intersections. That's just something to be aware of, though, if you're not used to this area.
Yeah, it wasn't as well marked as we kind of hoped or what we're used to, but I mean, we found our way. Carry the map with you just in case, or download the map ahead of time to your phone, because we did find that there were a couple places we had great cell service and a couple places where we did not. So you just want to be prepared. That's really all we're kind of just recommending.
We always say be prepared. We always say if you're going to hike with us, be extra prepared, because we're going to hike longer than the map says. But see what you can do. If you get down to Texas Hill Country, it's beautiful down here. And this particular area of the Guadalupe River State Park, the Bauer Unit, has a lot to offer if you like to get out and hike. Do what you can. Keep on trekking.
And we'll see you out there.
We're taking a little...
Oh, chewing.
Okay. Well, we are taking a snack break.
I know, but I got something to my teeth. That can be the blooper.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Blooper reel. Take 1. Actual reel. Take 2.